Under new proposed internet laws, we will all become felons. This shocking story comes from Dave Hodges, the Common Sense Show on the internet. Did you know that it's a misdemeanor to use your work computer to email friends? If you check the score of the ball game from work, it's also a misdemeanor. If you make reservations for dinner from your work computer, you have also committed a crime. If you check your Facebook account on your lunch break from your work computer, you could be fined and could go to jail. The law which criminalizes such behaviors is called the 1986 Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. If the Department of Justice, DOJ, gets its way, they want to make misusing your computer in any way a felon under the exceeds authorized use of any computer, including your own personal computer. For all of the above offenses, you could be prosecuted and most likely pay a fine. However, if the DOJ gets its way, you will go to jail because they will prosecute you as a felon if they convince Congress to strengthen this 1986 law. Everything you do or say on your phone, your computer, or post on Facebook or any other social media is being tracked by our government. They can record you on your cell phone and your webcam, even if the device is off. Even if you only want to type a memo to yourself, there is a keylogger software to spy on you. Unless you take the battery out of your phone or laptop, it's happening now. If you use Skype, which was bought by Microsoft over a year ago, the backdoor access to everyone's Skype accounts was given to the feds to spy on you. Facebook has joined in on the debate, of course. You know, the Facebook, the company started up by the CIA so they could spy on us, as many believe. Many on Facebook already refer to it as fascist book because they punish users for sending friends requests, despite the fact that Facebook sends these potential friends right to your page and invites you to do so. And if you send too many shared messages out at one time, they will suspend your account. Yet nobody could tell you how many messages and shares can send you into trouble, as Facebook keeps this a secret. Technically, you have committed a misdemeanor by violating Facebook's vague users agreements. Now the police state surveillance grid wants to interject them into the enforcement of Facebook policy. They want to prosecute violators of the fake name rules as written by the legal scholars at Facebook. Around the first of the year, Facebook suspended the accounts of activists Michael Rivero and John Rappaport, presumably because they did not follow some obscure Facebook editorial policy. And if that was not bad enough, now the DOJ wants to go after Facebook users who break Facebook rules. Rules, not laws, rules. They want to prosecute violators on Facebook policy as a felony, especially if one uses a name other than their real name. The intent is obvious. The dossier being prepared and updated daily by the NSA on your personal threat matrix score will not be as accurate as they desire it if you use aliases in the social media arena. Big Brother has to know where you are at all times and what you're up to, or the police state surveillance grid will be compromised if you're allowed to use an alias. Have you ever registered on an online dating website? Do you think anyone has ever understated their weight on a dating website? Or have you shaved off a few years off of your age in an online profile? If you submitted a slightly embellished resume to a prospective employer via the internet, you could soon go to jail as a felon under the new proposed Department of Justice rules. Technically, under this proposal, if a male lied to a female about loving her in an email solely for the accused purpose of having sexual relations, the male could soon be guilty of a felony. Under this new proposal, anyone lying on the website could go to jail no matter how innocent the white lie. Richard Downing, the DOJ's Deputy Computer Crime Chief, delivered the request to criminalize any kind of misrepresentation on the internet and to criminalize as a felony any violation of the proposed new rules. The DOJ argued that the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, CFAA, which is an amendment to the Counterfeit Access Device and Abuse Act, generally used to prosecute hacking and other serious crimes. It went into effect in 1986, and it must give prosecutors the ability to charge people based upon the violation of terms or servers or similar contractual agreement with the employee, employer, or provider. Not only that, how many of you have ever signed terms of service agreement before you could log into Wi-Fi or access a website? Did you ever really read the user's agreement that you signed? Would you ever know if you had ever violated terms of service or user's agreement? Would you ever know if you had ever violated terms of service or user's agreement form? The answer for nearly all of us is a resounding no. If Congress were to ever give into the demands of the DOJ and criminalize every inaccuracy on the internet, then the legal question of ex post facto laws come into play. Ex post facto means that the government cannot criminalize a behavior for what happened on Monday by passing a law outlawing the behavior on Tuesday. So it's not retroactive. Because the vast majority of postings on the internet are in perpetuity, something that you posted 5 years ago, way before any law was passed, could still come back to haunt you. Because the crime is still in progress. Because the posting was still active on the internet today. This could represent an entire undoing of due process procedures in court. The DOJ lost their bid to criminalize every internet inaccuracy in December 2012. This is temporary good news. And like the Criminal Patriot Act, it will be passed eventually, unfortunately. The bad news is that both the DOJ and the FBI have come back up to Capitol Hill with similar proposals since that time. Congress may have extended the illegal surveillance powers of the NSA, but they have not had the guts to pass laws that would make it a virtual certainty that one day, intentionally or not, every web-surfing American will violate some type of terms of service agreement, thus rendering you vulnerable to prosecution as a felony. At least they have not until now. This is the bad news because they're still trying. Assume you're a dissenter and becoming an annoyance to the administration. To get you out of the way, all they would need to do is to assign a small team of internet forensics investigators who would investigate your behavior for every site you have ever visited or posted on. And one day, they discover that you used a copyright-protected downloaded from Google image for an article you wrote, and then you're busted. This is the very bad news. Everybody's used pictures that somebody else has copyrighted for one reason or another. Subsequently, the selected prosecution team of the DOJ knocks down your door in a SWAT team raid, seizes all of your computers, and takes you to prison after running you through a kangaroo trial. Federal trials end up with a 90% or over conviction rate. During the time you are railroaded through the legal process, additional charges of domestic terrorism are added for what you have written on the internet, thus increasing your prison time to be served. This is very, very bad news, and it will have a chilling effect on all citizen journalists on the internet, which is mostly free speech. But apparently free speech isn't going to be free anymore. How pervasive could this DOJ approach to selectively persecuting journalists be? Your comments on the internet could be a felony. Just ask yourself how many times you have read an article by a popular journalist regarding government corruption and their YouTube video has been taken down for a violation of copyright or for some other unknown reason. Google is the worst violator of all the search engines. They routinely block millions of web pages or take down your access to offending websites. Under this new approach, that event just made a felon out of the journalist. And if you're a website operator who routinely runs articles related to government corruption, publishes an article from a contributor who knowingly or unknowingly has violated some service agreement somewhere, you have become an accomplice to a felony, and you would be charged with facilitation of a felony, and you would be facing up to 5 years in federal prison. These are the goals of the Department of Justice and other three-letter agencies. There's another compelling reason that the DOJ wants to push this draconian legislation through. In the aftermath of the Snowden affair, the government is scrambling to severely inhibit any form of whistleblowing or truth-telling, as it is. You can bet your bottom dollar that the future service agreements are going to be more specific, with harder to understand legal terms. In an attempt to stay out of trouble with the government, you have to read them and abide by them, or get off the internet. This will undoubtedly lead to even more violations of service agreements and more prosecutions of undesirables, which apparently we all fall under that list. The DOJ is very short-sighted and is only focused on the short-term goal of more successful prosecutions and furthering the agenda of the police-state surveillance grid. Of course, we have to fill all those corporate prisons. They're very profitable. However, the internet is actually a safety valve for the globalist agenda. Perhaps, as long as the people feel that they have a voice and an outlet for that voice, they are unlikely to go to the next level of protest, which is civil disobedience. Once a significant number of the population reaches the level of civil disobedience, like our forefathers did, that society is only a trigger event away from civil war. Whether it opens civil war or guerrilla warfare, they're afraid it will happen. As the DOJ and the FBI move to lock down the internet protest articles through selective prosecution, they will funnel people in that direction of civil disobedience or worse. I am left wondering if the globalists don't know this already and have that as their goal. Time will tell, for sure. In the meantime, always make sure you accurately report your age, weight, professional accomplishments, and a resume. Don't lie. And never misinterpret your romantic intentions, because the feds, or as I lovingly call them, the new American breed of the federales, are waiting to take you down. And if the feds show up at your door, invoke your Fifth Amendment right not to answer their questions until you have a lawyer present. Martha Stewart went to prison for lying to the feds, not for what they said she did. Most people in these situations go to prison for lying to the feds and not the crime that they are being investigated for. So keep your mouth shut and your Bible near your computer as we move one step closer to the inevitable bifurcation of the American society. The only laws they repeal are the ones that give you individual freedom. This is Ed Fouché, a new fan of Dave Hodges, the Common Sense Show on the internet. Thank you.